From Newsweek, Donald Trump makes Canada a new offer to become the 51st state. And the best part is he claims they're considering it. He posted on Truth, I told Canada, which very much wants to be a part of our fabulous Golden Dome system, that it will cost $61 billion if they remain a separate but unequal nation, but will cost $0 if they become our cherished 51st state. They are considering the offer. They aren't, but it's funny.
I don't want Canada to be the 51st state because I see the way the Canadians vote. So.
Could you imagine, like, Senator Trudeau?
Oh, God. It sounds like a terrible idea.
Senate Majority Leader Trudeau.
We could take Alberta, though.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And Saskatchewan right here, right?
What's that?
Saskatchewan, too?
Maybe Saskatchewan. But Alberta for the oil and the mountains. But, yeah.
We could take their oil, you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
So because I'm an expansionist, I'm down with taking Canada. So I think the real test case for taking Canada would be if a war broke out, we'd have to occupy Canada to maintain its safety and to make sure it doesn't become a satellite of Canada or a satellite of China is how I think it would go.
It already is.
Yeah, exactly. But during a time of
Chinese
war,
military operations up there.
During a time of war, we'd have to go occupy and decommunize Canada. So I think that's when it would really go down. I think President Trump is just trying to warm the Canadians up to the idea a little bit at this point.
Well, I mean, I think that Trump just likes to say things to get people.
Canada is in our future.
Whether or not
it's unfinished business, Phil.
No, it's not. But like at the end of the day, like Canada is going to be. They will be protected if we do design and build a Golden Dome. Like the United States is going to protect Canada as well. That's just the way that it's going to be.
During a time of war, we will need to occupy them for their own safety.
That's ridiculous.
To secure their liberty.
That's ridiculous.
Protect them from communism, from the Chinese.
No, stop.
We're going to be liberators, Phil.
No, this is
me and
dumb. You. No.
Liberators of Canada?
We're going to liberate Canada from the Chinese. Yeah,
He's
from the
going to go
communists.
up there and freeze to death by himself.
We're the anti-communists.
I'm not going.
Well, hold on. The freeze, but that's if he goes in winter. If he goes in summer, they have an extra long growing season and it's quite warm.
Then you'll just die of mosquito bites and ticks.
Black flies.
They're terrible.
As I understand, their waterways will become very important within the next few decades thanks to climate change. Do you guys remember climate change as a political issue? I feel like I haven't heard that word in a long time.
It's not real.
Like that was like the number one issue.
And let me clarify, I'm saying as a political issue.
Yeah.
I know they're going to be like, oh, we got him. That's what happened with Trump. He said something like that, like the political climate change is no longer relevant. And the media all ran, Trump says climate change isn't real. And I was like, no, he was saying that the political attacks they were using were based on lies.
If climate change was actually the crisis that they say, they would have been issuing nuclear permits 2 decades ago. But it wasn't. It never was. They were just trying to use the climate and the environment as a means to further control the basically the land and stuff, how you use your faucet and what shower head you can have. So
my next question to President Trump, if I'm so privileged to get another to him, maybe I'll ask about Greenland and Canada again.
I think
what the updates are.
I think Trump clearly just cares about global trade routes in the ocean. So the whole Canada-Greenland thing is about the Northwest Passage. And Panama, obviously, the canal. And Israel is largely Suez. And it was funny because all of these anti-Israel people got super mad when I pointed that out to Adam Conover. And they lost their minds because they live in Wally World. I'm like, Trump's issue, if you look at the big picture, is global trade. That's why they're bombing the Houthis. That's why they have interest in Sinai, in the Suez. And that's why he cares about the Northwest Passage, Greenland, Canada, and that's why Panama. His principal issue is I will control global trade. That's largely been the American position for domination. We police the ocean.
Mm-hmm. So you don't think Trump's serious about Greenland?
I do, yeah.
I mean, no, in terms of acquisition.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, but not about Canada. That's a try.
I think Canada might be a half joke. Half joking. Trump wants some kind of deal where we can have a military presence or naval presence. I don't think he literally believes the entirety of Canada will be one state. That makes no sense. But I think it's some kind of essence of a big ask. So where he goes to Canada and says, hey, you want Golden Dome protection? They say, yes, but what's it going to cost? He says $60 billion. And they go, we can't afford that. And he goes, then how about this? You lease us parts of, Canadian territory in the Northwest Passage, and we will then provide blanket coverage with Golden Dome. That's where I think we might end up.
I think it's textbook art of the deal, and he's just getting this is just his starting point in the negotiations. I think particularly for Greenland, and I think Tim's spot on about getting different parts of random northern parts of Canada for future military bases and whatnot. Same with Greenland, if we can negotiate something with like that. Or at least getting people interested in the idea. Maybe a couple of decades down the line, something goes wrong in Canada and Americans change their feelings towards that. Maybe we could be like, oh, remember when Trump thought this was a good idea? And we're warming people up to it. I'm warming you up to it, Phil.
I don't know if you're warming up to it or not. I don't think so. I do think that the argument being that the government makes about Greenland being important to national security is legitimate, but I don't think that we're actually going to get Greenland. I think that it'll likely be some kind of military base that we lease an area to install a military base. I'm pretty sure that there's already a U.S. military base there, at least one. The president and J.D. Vance were both talking about economic incentives to Greenland to get them to allow more, and I think that's what it's going to end up winding up being.
I believe during World War II, we did occupy Greenland again to secure their liberty.
Because someone else was occupying.
No, exactly. So again, I think this will have a similar casus belli. There'll be a similar political crisis that the United States will be able to utilize. We should have stayed in Greenland.
Do you really
post
think
World
that
War
it's
II?
going to be? So you think that it'll be a similar? Like that? Do you think because
there's going to be a big world.
It's Denmark that actually owns Greenland, right?
Sure, yeah, but if if something pops
Denmark's
off
be
in
invaded by
Europe,
Germany.
If something pops off in Europe, hey, maybe we'll see how things go in Ukraine and Russia. Who knows down the line? I'm just keeping my options open in my expansionist dream here. We probably shouldn't have left post-World War II, and we probably shouldn't have ever given back the Panama Canal, worst trade deal in history.
Well, the Panama Canal stuff, I agree, that shouldn't have.
That was just very dumb, frankly. I believe it was Jimmy Carter just trying to flex. I don't know. I'm not old enough to
Jimmy
remember.
Carter had some bad ideas.
I think it was like, oh, we're decolonizing or what have you.
I don't think that it was decolonizing.
I mean, that was the idea where it's decolonization.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that it was actually decolonization. I think that it was economic. I don't think that it was like, oh, we're actually. I don't.
Their argument was that we're colonizing them, and I think Jimmy Carter's angle was.
I'd have to look to be sure to see what the argument was, but decolonization has a specific leftist context, and I don't think that was the idea behind it. But I'd go look. So
dumb trade deals, liberate Greenland for no reason, and then give back Panama Canal for no reason. Let Canada exist again. We're footing their defense. We're their biggest trade partner. And what do we get out of it? Nothing. We get the raw end of the stick. And I'm glad President Trump actually recognized
maple syrup out of it.
Carter, you're loving this.
I mean, I don't know that I share your estimation of whether we should or should not have given back Greenland or whatever,
or the canal.
I think that I think that the canal actually was a bad idea. I think the U.S. should have kept at least a presence on the canal, but I'm not so sure about Greenland.
I don't know. Why not take Greenland? Like I don't mean by
I
force,
give it up. We should have kept it while we had it. It's easier to.
You mean during World War II?
Yeah. And
but it was
with the
a treaty
canal too.
We still have a treaty, I think, with Denmark allowing us to operate there.
Yeah. My like I said earlier, I think that it'll end up being the U.S. having some kind of military presence, maybe another military base or a couple military bases or something. But I don't think that there's a whole lot of benefit to taking Greenland because most of it. I mean, there are geothermal things down there.
There's abandoned underground nuclear bases.
Are there?
Yeah.
The Nazis' bases there?
U.S.
Secret Nazis?
U.S. tried building weapons depots and launch sites and struggled, so they built these big underground bunkers and then left. So they're there, and they're extremely valuable. Yep.
There was so much going on post-World War II that I think if we turned it into a territory...
Canada?
It would have... Greenland. It would have just been a bookmark in history, and we would have just accepted it.
Well, I think Trump is smart and realizes that Canada was always a part of America. And it's only by happenstance that we've not had our proper military control over it. And so in the name of justice, we must take Canada.
Monarchy is wrong. So that's
I get
why
so
I
many
should
death
vote
threats
Canada.
when I say that.
I don't want Canada because I don't
The Canadians acting up.
Canadians.
I don't know, though. They got moose. Moose are cool.
According to
Is it meese or mooses?
the great documentary Canadian Bacon, starring John Candy. That's the film about the war between the United States and Canada. You guys don't even know what that is, right? You don't.
I know. I've never
know the
seen
reference?
the movie, but I know the movie. Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.